Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of Eisenhower dollar value coins. In this video, we explore the worth, iconic design, hidden treasures, and shocking history behind the top 3 most valuable and expensive Eisenhower dollar coins from the United States of America. We'll be revealing coins from 1971, no mint mark, 1974, no mint mark, and the special 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial issue, also with no mint mark. These coins are made of copper-nickel clad metal, and their history is truly shocking. The Eisenhower dollar was the first U.S. dollar coin struck in base metal after the silver standard officially ended, marking a major turning point in American coinage. The obverse features President Dwight D. Eisenhower, while the reverse displays the Apollo 11 moon landing, a powerful symbol of America's role in space exploration and one of the most historic achievements of the modern era. At first glance, these Eisenhower dollars may look ordinary. They are often found dirty, worn, and heavily circulated. But don't be fooled. Some of these seemingly ordinary Eisenhower dollar coins could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars today. So before you spend that old dollar, stick around, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right first up. Coin number 1. Imagine holding a large, heavy dollar coin in your hand. It looks old. The surface is dull. Scratches cross the metal like scars. The edges are worn down from decades of use. Most people would glance at it once and move on. They would call it pocket change. But history doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes, history hides in plain sight. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark is one of those coins, quiet, overlooked, underestimated, yet carrying the weight of an entire American era within its metal. This coin was born at the end of something important. The Eisenhower dollar was the last large-size dollar coin ever made for everyday circulation in the United States. After it, America moved on to smaller, lighter coins. So when this coin was struck, it wasn't just currency, it was a farewell. A final chapter in a long tradition of big, powerful silver dollar-sized coins that once symbolized American strength, confidence, and global dominance. Holding it feels different. Heavier. More serious. Like it was made to last. On the front of the coin is President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a man remembered not only as a president, but as a military leader who shaped the modern world. His face on this coin is calm, firm, and commanding. It reflects stability during a time when America was still finding its footing after wars, political shifts, and cultural change. This was not a decorative portrait. It was a statement. A reminder of authority, leadership, and national identity pressed into metal. Turn the coin over, and the story becomes even more powerful. The reverse shows the Apollo 11 mission emblem, an eagle landing on the moon, the Earth floating silently in the distance. This design is not symbolic. It is literal history. This coin directly connects to the moment humanity first stepped onto another world. When Americans carried this dollar in their pockets, they were carrying proof that the impossible had already been achieved. No other circulating U.S. coin tells that story so boldly. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was made of copper-nickel clad, not silver, and because of that, many people dismissed it from the very beginning. It wasn't shiny silver. It wasn't precious metal. So it circulated heavily. It passed through millions of hands. It was dropped on concrete floors, slid across counters, stacked in drawers, and forgotten in jars. That is why so many surviving examples today are dirty, worn, and scarred by time. But in the world of serious collectors, where does not erase history, it proves it. A heavily circulated Eisenhower dollar tells you something important. It lived. It moved. It was part of real life. Every scratch is a transaction. Every worn edge is a decade gone by. And sometimes, hidden beneath that wear, are tiny details that separate an ordinary coin from something extraordinary. Subtle strike characteristics. Unusual surfaces. Rare production quirks. Things that only become valuable when the right eyes finally notice them. The absence of a mint mark on a 1974 Eisenhower dollar often traces it back to Philadelphia, but that lack of a mark also adds to its mystery. Millions were produced, yes, but not all survived the same way. Some were lost. Some were melted. Some were damaged beyond recognition. And some, against all odds, remain just different enough to catch the attention of advanced collectors decades later. That's how rarity truly forms, not at the moment of creation, but over time. In today's collector market, stories matter as much as metal. And Eisenhower dollars sit at a unique intersection. They appeal to coin collectors, presidential historians, and space age enthusiasts all at once. That crossover demand is rare. When multiple collector worlds collide, prices can move fast and quietly. The most shocking sales are never announced beforehand. They happen suddenly, behind closed doors, when the right coin meets the right buyer. Not every 1974 Eisenhower dollar is worth a fortune. But every high-value Eisenhower dollar once looked exactly like the one people ignored. That is the uncomfortable truth. Every million-dollar coin started its life as ordinary money. The difference is patience, knowledge, and timing. Spend it too quickly, and it's gone forever. Study it carefully, and it might just become something else entirely. That is why collectors warn against rushing. If you find one of these coins, especially a heavily circulated example, do not assume it has no future. Do not sell it for face value. Do not trade it away without understanding it. Because history has proven, again and again, that fortunes are not always shiny. Sometimes, they are scratched, dull, and silent, waiting for the moment when someone finally understands what they're holding. In the end, the 1974 Eisenhower dollar is more than a coin. It is the last echo of large American money. A tribute to leadership. A monument to the moon landing. And a reminder that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, the power to change your fortune isn't loud or bright. Sometimes, it's already in your hand, heavy, worn, and full of history. At first glance, it looks like nothing special. A large dollar coin, dull and tired, its surface softened by time. Scratches run across the metal like quiet scars. The edges are worn smooth from decades of handling. To most people, it looks heavy, outdated, and inconvenient. Something you'd rather get rid of than hold on to. But this coin is not ordinary. This is the 1971 Eisenhower dollar, a coin born at the exact moment America changed its money forever. 1971 was a turning point in U.S. history. This was the first dollar coin issued after the silver standard was effectively abandoned. For the first time, America's dollar was no longer tied to precious metal. Instead of silver, this coin was struck in copper-nickel clad, a base metal composition that shocked collectors and confused the public. Many saw it as the end of an era. Others saw it as the beginning of something uncertain. What no one realized then was that this moment would give the Eisenhower dollar its quiet power. On the front of the coin is President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Not chosen for decoration, but for meaning. Eisenhower was a wartime general, a stabilizing president, and a symbol of American authority during the Cold War. His portrait carries weight. Strength without noise. Confidence without fear. This coin was meant to feel serious in the hand, large, solid, and commanding, at a time when trust in money was beginning to change. Flip the coin over, and the story becomes even deeper. The reverse shows the Apollo 11 mission emblem. An eagle descending onto the moon, the Earth floating in the distance. This is not imagination. This is history pressed into metal. The Eisenhower dollar is the only U.S. circulating coin that directly celebrates humanity's first steps on the moon. Every time this coin changed hands, it carried the memory of a moment when the impossible became real. Because the 1971 Eisenhower dollar was copper-nickel clad, people treated it as expendable. It circulated heavily. It was used in casinos, vending machines, banks, and daily transactions. It fell into pockets, drawers, and jars. That is why so many examples today are dirty, worn, and scratched. But heavy circulation does not destroy a coin story, it proves it lived through history. A worn Eisenhower dollar tells a powerful truth. It survived the end of silver money. It witnessed inflation, economic uncertainty, and cultural change. It passed through generations who never stopped to look at it closely. And yet, beneath that wear, details still remain. Strike quality, surface texture, die characteristics. Small differences that separate common coins from those that quietly rise in value when collectors finally pay attention. The absence of a mint mark on many 1971 Eisenhower dollars points to Philadelphia, but that lack of a mark also adds mystery. These coins were made in massive numbers, yet not all survived equally. Many were melted. Many were damaged beyond recognition. Many were simply lost. Over time, survival itself became a filter. And in the collector world, survival plus history creates demand. Today, Eisenhower dollars sit in a unique position. They are too modern for traditional silver collectors, yet too historic to be ignored. They attract multiple audiences: coin collectors, Cold War historians, space exploration enthusiasts, and presidential memorabilia buyers. When different collector worlds overlap, values can change quietly and suddenly. The biggest prices are rarely public until after the sale is done. Not every 1971 Eisenhower dollar is worth millions. But every high-value Eisenhower dollar once looked exactly like the ones people ignored. That is the uncomfortable reality. Every rare coin begins its life as ordinary money. What separates them is time, scarcity, and attention. Spend it too fast, and its story ends. Study it patiently, and its future may surprise you. This is why experienced collectors always warn: never rush. Never assume. Never dismiss a coin just because it looks worn. Dirt can be cleaned. Scratches can be forgiven. History cannot be replaced. And sometimes, the most powerful coins are the ones that survived when no one cared enough to protect them. In the end, the 1971 Eisenhower dollar is more than metal. It represents the end of silver money. The beginning of modern U.S. currency. A tribute to leadership. A monument to the moon landing. And a reminder that fortune does not always shine. Sometimes, it looks old, heavy, and forgotten, waiting quietly for the right moment to be understood. At first glance, it looks heavy. Cold. Almost forgotten. A large dollar coin, dulled by time, its once bright surface now muted by scratches, software, and years of circulation. Many people have held it without thinking twice. Some spent it. Some lost it. Yet few ever stop to ask what it truly represents. This is not just a dollar. This is the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar, a coin born at a moment when America paused to look back at 200 years of survival, struggle, and power. The year 1976 was not just another date on the calendar. It marked 2 centuries since America declared independence. 200 years of wars, revolutions, growth, fear, and ambition. To honor that moment, the United States decided to break tradition. They changed the design of their circulating coinage. And for the dollar, they chose size, weight, and symbolism. This Eisenhower dollar carried history in its hands. A physical reminder of a nation celebrating itself while standing at the edge of a modern world. Turn the coin over and the message becomes impossible to ignore. The Liberty Bell. Cracked, imperfect, yet still standing. Behind it, the moon. Silent. Distant. A powerful symbol of how far the nation had come, from fighting for freedom on Earth to leaving footprints beyond it. No other U.S. coin blends independence and space exploration so boldly. This design alone makes the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar feel more like a metal than money. Though dated 1776 to 1976, these coins were struck across 2 years. 1975. 1976. Yet every single one carries the same dual date. A deliberate choice. A reminder that this coin was never meant to represent a single year, it was meant to represent an era. Millions were produced, yes. But not all survived the same way. Some were stored. Some were saved. Others were thrown into daily circulation, slowly absorbing the marks of American life. This particular coin tells a harsher story. Its surface is worn. Scratches cross the fields. Edges are softened by countless transactions. There is light toning. Grime trapped in the details. Proof that this coin worked for a living. Gas stations. Vending machines. Cash drawers. Hands that never imagined its future importance. And yet, for collectors, this kind of wear does not erase value, it creates narrative. The Eisenhower Bicentennial dollar is made of copper-nickel clad, not silver. And that is exactly why many people underestimated it. They assumed value only lived in precious metal. They were wrong. Because history, symbolism, and condition-based rarity can outweigh composition. Certain strike qualities, minting quirks, and preservation stories have turned ordinary-looking examples into headline-making coins. Not every coin becomes valuable. But the right one, in the right moment, can shock the market. Collectors don't just look at what a coin is made of. They look at what it survived. They look at why it exists. They look at how many people ignored it. And the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar checks every emotional box. Large size. Bold design. A once-in-a-lifetime national celebration. It is nostalgia you can hold. History you can weigh in your palm. Over time, interest in these coins has grown quietly. Not loudly. Not overnight. But steadily. As collectors chase complete sets, high-grade survivors, unusual circulation patterns, and story-rich pieces, prices begin to separate. Most remain affordable. A few rise sharply. And a very small number cross into territory that surprises even seasoned collectors. That is how markets move slowly, until they don't. This is why experts always warn against rushing. Against spending first and asking questions later. Because once a coin leaves your hand, its story leaves with it. The Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar may look common. It may feel heavy and ordinary. But history often hides in plain sight. And sometimes, the coins people ignore today are the ones they chase tomorrow. So if you ever find one of these dollars worn, scratched, and silent, pause for a moment. Look closer. Feel its weight. Remember what it was made to celebrate. Because while not every Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar will change a life, every single one carries the power of a nation's past. And in the world of collecting, that kind of power should never be underestimated.